One of the common questions that I hear more than once in a week revolve around confusion at why we don't see the Constitution-class vessel, or any of its variants, in the Next Generation and succeeding series. In fact, the only time we see a Constitution-class, in its original form, is when one is destroyed after being pulled out of mothballs in an attempt to defend against the Borg at Wolf 359. I always theorized that the Constitution-class and other variant and minor refits were retired in honor of the USS Enterprise for that time period. The class and its spin-offs would not be made again as monuments to that era. However, this didn't make a lot of sense when we finally analyzed the Dominion War. Starfleet was well known for using older models of vessels and creating Frankenstein monstrosities of Satan to help the war effort. So not utilizing all available parts made no sense, especially when they could be upgraded to last at least as long as a Miranda class. And then I got an idea. An awful idea. I had a wonderful, awful idea. What if the Constitution and its other variants were too powerful to use, and thus their true abilities were classified, and people were ordered never to utilize any such tech again, even if it meant the destruction of the Federation? Such an order isn't outside of the boundaries of what the Federation would do. Remember, they would rather die than cause harm to other civilizations or others, or even other eras of time.
You made a military decision to protect your ship and crew. But you're a Starfleet officer, Worf. We don't put civilians at risk, or even potentially at risk, to save ourselves. Sometimes that means we lose the battle, and sometimes our lives. But if you can't make that choice, then you can't wear that uniform.
There's even precedence, as we see in Star Trek Discovery, where technology is classified, even if it would help future generations or one specific ship. But now I know you're asking, why wouldn't they continue to produce Constitution-class vessels along with other variants? Well, that's simple. By creating those ships, you were creating time machines.
This does open some intriguing prospects, Captain. Since the formula worked, we can go back in time to any planet, any era.
We may risk it someday, Mr. Spock.
In the naked time, we find out the Enterprise was designed in such a way that you need but change the mixture in its fuel, and you now have an instant time machine. For a few years, Starfleet would utilize this method of time travel, like we see in Assignment Earth, to observe and learn about the history of Earth, but only Earth, before they stopped doing that. Ultimately, I suppose some admiral realized that this was probably a bad idea, especially if the Enterprise or other ships of similar type were captured. Imagine if the ability to time travel was given to the Klingons, the Romulans, or even the Dominion. Because of this, the Constitution class would be decommissioned, the information on using the mixture classified and banned throughout all of Starfleet and the Federation itself. When you break it down, it really makes a lot of sense. This would be why we don't see those in the Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, and Voyager having much knowledge or understanding of time travel. And it's why we don't observe the Constitution class or other variants along with other ships. It's so perfect it had to be pre-planned by the writers from the beginning. No way it just worked out like this. I want to give a shout out to Lore Runner for joking about the idea and giving me the ability to milk some preem content. Don't forget to give me your opinions as well as rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next Lore Reloaded.